I guess they were always scared that I'd be a psycho.
Hey everyone, Rascal here.
And Mama, welcome to our channel, Paws On Animation.
And this time we're covering the live-action Disney movie, Cruella. Oh gosh.
Yes, guys, we finally covered it like you requested.
Yes.
Now, this movie serves as the origin story, as if she needed one,
Right.
for Cruella De Vil from 101 Dalmatians. Now, the huge problem is that not only does it not follow the animated film's version at all,
Right.
and makes her sympathetic,
Of course.
but it also doesn't even feel like a Disney movie.
Period. No.
But
Before we start, be sure to like, subscribe, and notifications of future podcasts and pause videos.
yes, thank you so much for joining us today, sharing our videos, so much more. We hope you're having a fantastic Spooktober at this time.
Yes.
So, for those of you not familiar, and that's hard to believe, but just in case, Cruella is a 2021 American black comedy.
That's what they call it? Huh.
Directed by Craig Gillespie, from screenplay by Dana Fox and Tony McNamara. The story was by Aline Brosh McKenna, Kelly Marcel, and Steve Zissis. One problem I can see now is too many people involved in the project.
Yeah.
Now, Walt Disney Pictures produced it. They say it's based on the 1956 novel by Dodie Smith. Serving as a backstory, but when you watch the movie, you find out that it's entirely untrue.
Yeah, for the book and for the movie. And going into it, we already knew it was going to be not good. But we seem to underestimate just how bad it can be sometimes. And with this, as we mentioned, not only is it bad in terms of telling this story and trying to make the woman who wanted to skin puppies for their fur a good guy anti-hero, is the fact that when you watch it, this doesn't feel like anything Disney puts out. Not even in their live action remake department. Not even Maleficent felt like this. Even they at least tried to keep some semblance to the movie, even when they changed things around a lot. Then if this wasn't saying Cruella on it and you see Dalmatians, you wouldn't think this was connected.
We did cover Maleficent years ago. That should be coming up right
Yeah.
now. And Rascal kept saying while we were watching it, I think it's just a movie someone had in a room.
Yeah.
And they decided to use it and just stick Cruella's name
Yes.
on it and make it a
Yes, could you
movie.
exactly? Because that's what it feels like the whole time. Take her name out and it's someone else.
Well, this movie released in May of 2021. It actually was successful, and I think because people were curious not only to see how it would go, but they also were fans of Emma Stone. It had a budget of $100 million, and it earned over $233 million at the box office, so it wasn't a failure. But I think it probably surprised people in how it turned out, and they weren't pleased.
Right.
It has a running time of 134 minutes, way too long. It's over 2 hours.
Yeah,
And
2
it's
hour
way, way too long. About an hour in, you're starting to get bored, and
it's still
toward
going.
the end, it gets fantastical and crazy. But you've got to sit from that hour point on to that last part of the movie and stick with it just to see what happens. But you're kind of not motivated to do it.
Yeah, and that's a huge problem in here. And because you know the movie probably backwards and forwards, the original one, this comes as such a surprise to see. But before we knew that Disney was on the whole arc of every villain they've ever had was a victim and needed justification and retribution for their actions, or a big reason, like the Joker, who became twisted in the first place, which really got old fast. And with this Cruella movie, the biggest part of here that is probably the worst thing is near the beginning, when they show she's practically crazy from the time she was born. They even show her birth, no joke. They show what happened to her mother, and it became a laughing stock for the beginning. And it's not a spoiler, you already know what it is because of the talk of the internet. Her mom died because some Dalmatians pushed off a cliff and mauled her. And that was the beginning of her villain origin story. And people either were mortified or laughing hysterically that they thought this was a convincing and compelling pivotal point in this movie.
Yeah.
It's like, what are you people doing? And you let this movie come out.
Now, this movie was originally meant to be released before the pandemic.
Yes.
And it got delayed and came out in 2021. I want to state, for those of you who might now be gritting your teeth of what we're saying, the failure was not in the performances. The performances were fantastic, especially Emma Thompson.
Yes.
I'm sorry, she just nailed it.
Yes.
Emma Stone was also very good.
Yeah,
And
true.
so were the supporting actors. So it wasn't the performances that were the problem. It was the writing and the plot that was the issue for us.
Yes, very. And in this 2-hour movie, you have to see how she became evil. So they literally got to give you the entire step-by-step thing, how she got the 2 bumbling henchmen. They're actually her best friends in here, which I guess had to be updated. How she got the car, how she got the name
Well, they
Cruella.
did the Disney trope where they gotta have 2 friends.
Yeah, having the Cruella De Vil name, but they don't tell you. They tell you how she got the De Vil part, but not Cruella. She just kind of comes up with it. Her thing with being into fashion, the black and white hair, her accent, the dogs, every single thing had to come about in here. And to me, one missed opportunity, not for this movie, but just Disney in general. They have her actually liking dogs in here. She has a little pet dog, and the little dog performers were adorable. I loved them the whole time, and they were very loyal to her. But what got me is that having this movie where it's a sort of a twisted version of all the Disney princess tropes you have, like you have your song, you have your sidekick, you have your dress, you have your villain, your friend, and everything, and putting it with a Disney villain, I think would be brilliant if it wasn't a Cruella De Vil movie. It should have been an original new villain and their origin, and they're going through the backward steps of the Disney princess. That would make a great movie.
I agree. Now, 2 other things that were an issue for us. If it doesn't matter to you or if it was an issue for you, let us know in the comments. 1, the original 100 Dalmatians took place in 1961.
Yeah.
This one takes place in 1970, set in London during the punk rock movement.
Which means someone had a taste for that music and they wanted to make a movie around it.
And that didn't make sense to us because if this is supposedly based on the movie and the book, well, that just threw it out the window because it has nothing to do with it based on how that went.
Yeah, and you're not the only one. I have seen people online say the same thing, and she's more of the supposedly classy woman in the original animated film. Why she went through the punk rock rebellious era didn't even match up.
And another thing is, they say that critics loved it and it won some awards. I think another thing that helped it at the box office was COVID, because people were wanting to go back to the theaters after the lockdown. And it benefited, like Tokyo Revengers live action movie.
Yeah.
People just wanted to get back out and get in the theaters. And I think that's what worked for it. I think if this had been released like now, during a period where we haven't had that type of event happen, I think this movie would fail.
Yeah.
And again, it's not based on the performances. The performances are fantastic. It's the plot, the storyline, and the ridiculousness of what they've written versus the original work, and claiming that it's connected and represents it, and it doesn't.
Right. Exactly. And when you even get further into the development, I think it was directed by Glenn Close, and I think they tried to justify the movie's existence by saying, well, she played Cruella in a live-action Dalmatians movie, so she obviously is the perfect choice to direct a Cruella De Vil movie.
It was directed by Greg Gillespie.
Oh,
I
okay.
think she was one of the maybe executive producers.
Oh, she was involved?
Yes, she was an executive producer.
Okay.
She
Yeah.
was one of the executive producers.
Okay.
I personally told you I thought that was great because she did a fantastic job in her
Right.
version of the movie.
Right.
The
So
problem
I guess...
is it looks like, again, maybe what she thought wasn't taken into account.
Right.
Maybe her performance and her actually being connected to the original book
Yeah.
and the movie wasn't taken into account, because this movie has nothing to do with either of those.
Right. And the worst part of it all is that they're most likely going to do a sequel to this, because they did a Mufasa sequel, prequel, whatever, recently. And we also have another version of her origin story in a book where it's all a series of villainous books telling how they became the villains of their films, and they're egged on by a group called the Odd Sisters, and they push them to the dark side, which is a weird thing to add, but it's like, if you gotta keep making 2 to 3 different villain origin stories for the villain, maybe you shouldn't just give them an origin.
Now, back in 2021, it says that Stone closed the deal to reprise her role. Also, they were bringing back Gillespie as the director, McNamara as well as the writer. So they said there was going to be a sequel, but it's been 4 years now.
Yeah.
So it looks like they're more focused on destroying every other property they have and making a live action first.
Yeah.
Before they get to the sequel, which is odd. Maybe they know that they just lucked out on this movie because of the circumstances.
Yeah.
And they're not willing to put it out there again, the second movie. But who knows? And we've heard nothing about it. So again, I think that is a testament to them knowing, woo, we got lucky on this one. Let's ruin some other stuff first. Maybe we'll come back to this.
Right. And with the rampage of live action adaptations they're doing, we've got like 5 or 6 now being in development, plus 2 or 3 more origin movies for the villains like Hades and possibly Mother Gothel, and I think Jafar, I think they said they're gonna do. I'm not sure, but it's like we're going kind of overboard here.
The last thing I want to mention is the costumes. Now, I will say the costumes were absolutely fantastic.
True.
The clothing that they had her designing, they made sure they were different, yet they still were for the times of the 70s. They had Emma Stone in some outrageous outfits. And then I love the scene. I do like this scene where she had all her designs locked in a safe, thinking that they were going to be safe till the fashion show the next day when they would be presented.
Right.
And somehow Emma Stone's character, Estrella at the time, not Cruella yet, got in and she reworked all her designs and made them look better. That was one of the clever, clever scenes in the movie. And I did like how the things were designed. So I love that they decided to go original with the clothing.
Yeah, at least that part kept true to it.
And they also received some awards based on that. So
well, at least
they were
that one was
nominated
worth
for
it.
quite a few awards for costume design.
Now that I can see being worth it. I have nothing to say bad about anyone's outfit.
And every single award they were nominated for costumes, they won. And it was genuinely and rightly earned and deserved.
Right. And I hope that whoever did make these costumes is getting more work in other films, whether it be Disney or other stuff, because that was really great.
Absolutely. So if you've seen Cruella, let us know in the comments. Did you love it? Did you hate it? Did you think it was okay? Do you think it connects any way, somehow, on Winging a Prayer to the original book and the movie? Let us know. And if you haven't seen it, be sure to check it out. Come back and tell us what you think. You asked us to give it a review, and we never want to go without giving precedence to the cast. So very quickly, Emma Stone is Estella Miller. Later, Cruella De Vil. Emma Thompson is Baroness von Hellman. Joel Fry is Jasper. Paul Walter Hauser is Horace. Those are connected to the original movie.
Yeah.
Emily Beecham is Catherine, her adoptive mom. Kirby Howell Baptiste is Anita Darling. Mark Strong is John, the Barrison's valet. John McCrae portrays Artie, a member of Cruella's entourage, owner of a vintage fashion shop. And they had some other people who kind of made appearances in here. They tried to throw in a lot of connections. David Bowie's Zig Stardust inspired.
That's why I figured one of the characters.
Pongo, a Dalmatian was named Pongo, the puppy. They tried connections, but it didn't really work.
Yeah.
So anyway, come back, tell us what you think if you haven't seen it.
And if you haven't already, subscribe for updates, we'll give you for anime series, anime shows, and all things animation.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for joining us for this. I hope you enjoyed it as we enjoyed delivering it to you. Yeah, the movie for us wasn't so great, but we really want to hear your thoughts since you want us to cover it. So please comment and tell us what you think.
Yes. So, thank you so much for watching. I'm Ask Entertainment.
I'm Mom Entertainments. Thank you so much for subscribing, sharing our videos, and so much more. We appreciate you, our specials.
Yes. Have a fantastic day.
Peace.
I was born brilliant. Born fast. And a little bit mad.